Aura.
Happy birthday, Aura. I've known the radio and I've loved the radio since I was a kid, and it means a lot to me, and I cannot really believe that I'm part of it, and I'm the general manager right now. So for that I want to thank most of all to the alumni. Thank you very much, guys, because you have worked so hard to build this institution in the way that we know it so far.
Well, it was more or less brought by Hristo Grozev, who...
I would say rather more than less. It was entirely his idea.
He was more.
Hristo was always the driving factor.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to give him that.
Let's mention that at that time there were no private radio stations in Bulgaria. There was only Bulgarian national radio.
On the other hand, I remember clearly how the name was invented. We were walking
from
Blagoevgrad toward the hilltop on this alley next to the river on the left side as you go up. You know it.
Bachinovo.
Inside the park. And we were brainstorming, and of course everybody had completely different ideas. And I think, actually, I'm sure Katerina Zagorova, his girlfriend at the time, she was the one who came up with the idea of Radio Aura, which was Aura.
Radio.
It came from
American University Radio.
Aura, but also American University Radio. It was perfect because you have AUBG, obviously, AU Radio, and then the idea of Aura, you know. Also very nicely sounding, very short, everything that a name should have.
Христо Грозев е човек, който го е направил като локална радиоточка в Хилтоп, общежитията на Американския университет. И той е написал писма, повечето от които на ръка, защото това е преди 20 години и кусур, до щатите, в които ги моли да помогнат. Тоест, текст е: ние сме едно студентско радио в България, което си нямаме нищо и много ще се радваме да ни помогнете с каквото можете. В продължение на повече от 10 години след този апел, в радиото пристигах, когато Христо Грозев вече беше много напред в облаците, защото той е изключителен човек. При нас продължаваха да пристигат дискове, плочи, техника, моливи, тефтерчета, какво ли не, включително и любимото ми такива столове от затвора в Аризона. Имаме 4 такива, които са най-удобните столове, на които съм стоял. Те тежат 6 тона. Той не може да се премести. Може би умишлено, за да не се бият затворниците с тях, но те ни ги изпратиха. Те си мислиха, че нямаме и столове и че имаме нужда от тях.
В момента работя като програмен директор на БГ Радио и всъщност радиото беше причината аз да дойда в Американския университет. И по това време Аура все още беше кабелно радио, но се работеше по това да започна да излъчва в ефир. И аз се явих на прослушвания, не ме взеха за водеща, а за продуцент, което означава, че тогава все още нямаше one-man шоу, един човек водеше, един човек буташе фейдерите. Сиреч се занимаваше с цялата техническа част на шоуто. Но след около един месец работа излязох и в ефир, като първи ми самостоятелен ефир беше докато се настройваше антената за ефирно излъчване от покрива на университета. Значи имаме спорове с колегите от тогавашното време. Аз помня датата 26 януари 1993. Това беше, както и преди малко ти казах, това беше момента, в който Христо Грозев и не помня кой още му помагаше. Когато Христо каза: можеш ли да пускаш музика? Аз казвам: не. Окей, ела сега тук. Тези фейдери са за 2 диска. Това ни беше техниката, 2 диска, 2 касетофона и един голям магнетофон, на който дори Христо понякога монтираше с ножица, както се е правило на времето. Няма. Рекламите пристигаха на касети. Много беше смешно. Толкова бяхме далече от това, което е в момента радиото. В началото беше голям ентусиазъм. Връщам се отново. Каза: добре, тези 2 фейдера тук, тези 2 фейдера там. Гледай да не спира музиката, защото настройвам антена.
Together with this enthusiasm, something else I remember happened that was very helpful. Hristo got in touch with different people in the radio business, and 3 of them were very influential, that helped a lot, the idea. The first one was, of course, Herbie Fisher. He also had a background in working on pirate radio stations, including the famous Radio Caroline on the Caroline ship in the North Sea. And there was a movie recently.
The Boat That Rocked.
The Boat That Rocked, yeah, that is based on this movie, and it was actually filmed in this ship.
Everybody was so enthusiastic that something like that is happening.
Yeah.
That
And
people
we
will
gave
be
them
very
their
sympathetic. It's not
advertising.
like you have it everywhere, you know. Those guys from a university, from Bulgaria, which was until recently part of the, you know, the socialist camp. Now they want to have a private radio. Let's help them out. So I imagine on their side. Now I can think, you know, with hindsight, I can see it from their point of view. At the time, it was astonishing to me that, you know, you would receive all those things for free.
Спомням си, че тогава повече чувствахме, отколкото мислихме. От тая гледна точка, примерно, ако днес трябва да правим радио, съм сигурен, че ще правим бизнес планове, инвестиционни планове, планове за продажби, организационни структури и така нататък. Тогава нещата бяха доста по-прости. Доста по-прости и се получаваха много добре в интерес на истината.
Ние буквално живеехме в това радио. Просто то беше едно такова общество в обществото. Всичко беше много истинско и същевременно за нас, същевременно беше на супер, не мога да кажа непрофесионално ниво, но беше много измислено. Например, ние нямахме програма за ротация. Христо ни беше направил един форматен часовник. Какво означава това? Един лист хартия на стената, на който е направено кръгче и пише: тук има current hit, тук recurrent hit, тук 80s hit, тук... И по този начин реклами. След което, вече когато се преместихме в студиото, в което и в момента е Аура, нещата станаха малко по-истински. Започнахме да имаме целодневна програма. На 95-та година вече в радиото се правеше синдикирано предаване The World Chart Show, което ние произвеждахме, получавахме всяка седмица като сценарий и музика от щатите и превеждахме за един ден. За още един ден се изчиташ, от двамата водещи се записваше и след това в реално време се тиражираше за 12 радиостанции.
Единствената почивка беше между полунощ и 6 сутринта. През останалото време винаги имаше програма и винаги имаше програма на живо. Или на запис, но мисълта ми е такава, че нали, не е било да пуснеш нещо автоматизирано и за ваканцията примерно да преизлъчваме някоя друга програма. Спомням си, включително е имало една нова година, бяхме седнали в една пицария, бяхме колко 10-12 човека на 31 декември, хората от Радио Аура, бяхме в една пицария, там посрещахме новата година и трябваше някой да сменя дата с музика, където беше записано предаването. Бяхме го пуснали на запис точно преди нова година, за да можем, нали, ние пък съответно да не сме вътре в самото студио. И аз трябваше да отида да сменя дата. Отидох, смених дата и се връщам на бегом от студиото до пицарията, която беше в центъра, посока Волга. Нова година ме хвана на бегом от радиото до пицарията, така че не можах да се чукна на здраве за 12 часа, но дори навръх нова година бяхме там, екипа, и следяхме нещата минута по минута. Да направиш едно интересно предаване не е само да прочетеш новина или да кажеш някаква клюка, а е по-скоро, как да кажа, смисъл, може да измислиш нещо интересно. Аз си спомням, Христо беше в това отношение страхотен човек, идваха му страхотни идеи. Той включваше баба си в ефир. Той се обаждаше на баба си, аз си спомням още преди да започна в радиото, когато бях пристигнал в Благоевград и стоях в общежитието и слушах Аура. Аз не изкарах много дълго извън Аура. В смисъл, аз пристигнах и може би месец по-късно, 2 месеца по-късно вече бях в радиото. Но си спомням предварително как слушах радиото и вечер, примерно Христо, когато имаше вечерното предаване, някаква тема, примерно от новините. Темата от новините се обсъжда, включва баба си в ефир от Пловдив и задава въпроси, тя отговаря. И беше страхотно забавно, страхотно смешно. Тоест, не е необходимо да имаш subscription за Entertainment News. Можеш да направиш нещо интересно, забавно, оригинално. Просто ако имаш нюх, ако имаш идеите, И ако имаш екипа, защото много често се включваха хората, които са извън, примерно, студиото, които са колеги, пак познати гласове от ефира, влизат в ефира и участват, примерно, или обсъждат нещо. Случвало се в сутрешното предаване, така да влязат по един, по двама човека, който минаваш за часове, минаваш, се включва. Така че всеки водещ си имаше някакви различни концепции, някакви различни елементи, които включваше в предаванията.
Изключвали сме ефира, защото някой е влязъл и е спрял телевизора, а телевизора е свързан с някаква антена, която някаква антена е свързана с това, което излъчва и невероятна такава поредица от технически връзки, но ти в един момент влизаш, няма никой, защо работи този телевизор, довиждане и няма вече ефир. Също така много пъти си бил в ефир без да знаеш, че си. Също така съм си отмъщавала, като съм пускала песни, които не трябва да звучат и са били забранени и никой нищо не е можел да ми направи, защото песента вече звучи. И това е AC/DC, Thunderstruck в 10 сутринта. Никой не може нищо да ми каже за това. То вече е в ефир и си отмъщавах на Христо Гроза, да речем. И хората, може би и за добро и за лошо, ни позволяваха да правим всички тия волности в ефира, но въпреки това жестоко много ни се радваха. Телефона непрекъснато звънеше в ефир. Все пак то тогава в самото начало нямаше и друго радио. Пускахме много различна музика, много такава музика, която не можеш да чуеш никъде, която получавахме по най-различни нелегални начини. От приятели от чужбина, на дат, касетки записани и така нататък. Авторски права, кой ти гледа? Няма плащане на копирайт. Но не знам дали въобще е имало такава възможност. Помня, че получихме през 1993 година едно дарение на плочи от някакви военни бази в Щатите, които вероятно и сега някъде стоят изключително редки екземпляри винили с печати US Army. Така.
Допреди частното радио в България, преди да има толкова много радиостанции, преди пазара да се сегментира по този начин, имаше едно радио, това беше Националното радио. Имаше програма Хоризонт, имаше програма Христо Ботев, в които имаше много говор, много интервюта, много новини, музика от всякакви стилове, от класическа музика до съвременна музика. И в общи линии в главата на хората, когато се кажеше радио, се разбираше една мешавица от всичко. Колкото повече насищаше пазара, колкото повече нови радиостанции влизаха и те трябваше по някакъв начин да се диференцират и да се насочват към различни сегменти от пазара. И колкото повече гледахме на Запад, където примерно Щатите е един от пазарите, които имат най-дългогодишна традиция в частното радио, толкова повече си давахме сметка, че трябва всяка радиостанция да има собствен облик по някакъв начин, което всъщност е музикалният формат. И тогава си дадохме сметка, че всяка една радиостанция трябва да поеме по някакъв конкретен път. И това беше много труден избор, не толкова за нас, защото ние още от самото начало бяхме contemporary hits. Това означава най-новата музика, това е което звучеше. Винаги най-новата музика може да се чува с някакъв процент музика, примерно от последните 10 години. Но си спомням колко беше трудно, примерно, за останалите колеги от радиобизнеса в цялата страна, да си дадат сметка и един вид да направят, да кажат, ето това е нашия формат, това ще работим. Всеки казваше, ние имаме малко новини, имаме малко стара музика, имаме малко нова музика и просто им беше трудно да заковат и да кажат, ето това ще бъдем ние и да дефинират някакъв ясен облик. Така че при нас в общи линии Радио Аура винаги е било дома на новата музика, на модерната музика, Contemporary Hit Radio. Това беше нашия формат по това време.
Може би всъщност за всички нас от началото на радиото цялото студентство беше един труден период, защото ние масово едва завършвахме. Масово бяхме с успех 2,5-3 беше... Ти си страшен гений, ако успяваш да стигнеш до там. Доста хора се налагаше да взимат Summer School, за да си набавят нужните кредити, а някои дори не получиха диплома, защото трябваше след дипломирането на своя випуск да положат още изпити, за да успеят да получат диплома. Така че никак не беше лесно да съчетаваме всичко, защото ние някакси не успявахме да се абстрахираме от радиото и да се фокусираме и върху ученето си. Адски много се раздавахме на радиото и много го обичахме всички. На факт, че сме толкова заразени, че в момента в нашата група, в която сме 7 радиостанции, една телевизия, почти целият менеджмент и голяма част от хората, които работят са Aura people. И аз всъщност някак си не мога да си представя как би се развил живота ми, ако не съм работила в Aura и не съм била в Aura.
I started out as a DJ and a radio host. And this is what I did for the first year or year and a half or something. Then I was the programming director, which means that I was responsible for the types of shows, for the schedule, for the recruitment of new people, for the news in a way, although there was a news director as well. And then in the end, eventually I became the GM, which is the general manager. Basically, I was trying to be responsible for everything. I was pretty ambitious, I think. I was trying to be this super tough boss, and I was constantly stalking everyone and writing notes on the walls. And I think there's still this Bible, I think, that I wrote, and it's still somewhere in the radio maybe, about what to do on air and what is not to be done on air. And I was giving them fines as well. So I think I was trying to take myself seriously, but no, it was basically just trying to make the radio sound nice and listenable and cool, and trying to make the most of the people who worked there. And I think we were aware at the time that this was a huge opportunity just to, of course, learn a lot, but also to do whatever you want. For example, I took the chance and did my own show for black music, which was R&B and soul and funk.
1, 2, ready, go!
Soul, funk, rhythm and blues, acid jazz, hip hop, rap. Черно с бистра.
So yeah, I think we were trying to, live up to the potential of the whole thing and have a lot of fun as well. I think one of the key things that I remember about this period was that there was a huge team spirit. People were happy to be there, and other people from outside the radio, I think, pretty much envied us and thought of us as a cool crowd, I would like to think at least. And I think for one of the Moronor ceremonies, we were actually nominated for like the cool group or something like that.
This award is to the guys, mostly to the guys who built the Aura spirit. We're the guys who keep it. Thank you.
It was already a station with some reputation and with a program that was developed by people before us. And there were some people who, would hand over their experience and whatever they knew. So it's not like you start completely from scratch. There's people who welcome you, and that's really cool. And then, of course, you're terrified. Of course, first thing you do is try to host during the night in some super obscure hour, like between midnight and 2 a.m. or something, just because you want to make sure nobody listens to the blunders that you make. But yeah, you just have to jump and just do it, I guess. I think when I was working there, we introduced a computer so we could have a 24/7 program and program music to run constantly. But before that, we would have the morning show always, which would go on until about noon. We would have news every hour, I think. 10 minutes newscasts or something, and we would have every day some different shows, like theme-based shows. We would have one day a cinema show, and then show about technology, and then a request show, and in the evenings we would have the special musical shows. Like mine was always on Monday night, for example.
Взривявайки вашата УКВ скала. Aura 98,8.
I was producer in Radio Aura between 98 and 2002, let's say, 2001. When we did the jingles for the radio, it was done, like the whole bundle needed to be done at once, and the whole thing was, a campaign for rebranding the radio station.
Radio Aura. Пулсът на Благоевград.
And yeah, you end up like changing the whole sound image of the radio at once. And then when the idea is ready and we have the list, we basically start working on it. This is my daughter. I don't know if she's in the frame. My younger daughter, Sevda. So yeah, we basically yeah, after the you know, the list and the idea is ready, we start just recording voices. For the last, like, I'm not sure if I'm remembering all things correctly, but the last rebranding was with Данчо Жечев's voice.
Пулсът на Благоевград 98,8 Радио Аура.
And then me or whoever was doing the jingles just, you know, start digging. We had a bunch of CDs that were promotional CDs from companies that were producing sound effects and promotional effects for radio stations. So we would just, you know, cut pieces of little sounds in between the promotional material that the CD was comprised of. And we were very into that, you know, that kind of American or Western CHR aggressive radio station, all those busy aggressive jingles, you know, the buzzes and the sweeps and the very aggressive deep voices, you know, this is Radio Aura.
Аура, Радио Аура, пулсът на Благоевград.
Това е в продукционното. Production studio. You don't do it for the money, but I think that's one of the coolest things about it, because when it's not a job, you can't be tired. You can't. I mean, you don't have people who work there because they have to. You don't have people who just want to get it over with. The people you have there, they may be inexperienced and they may not be perfect, but they do it because they want to do it and they see something in it and they feel something about it and they think it's cool. So they want to be there, and that's, I think, really important.
Radio Aura was a leader in the current market for several years, as far as I know. I think until the 2000s, we were always a top 3 radio station, and very often the first one.
The most important thing for me was that for 3 years I was really, you know, working as a journalist in a media that was broadcasting in real life. We were having an audience from the city, and at the time it was the most popular radio in Blagoevgrad. And besides that, the radio is a community of its own. So you have a lot of friends, you meet like-minded people. We're still good friends with some of my colleagues from the radio. My husband worked there, so we met in the radio and we're still together after so many years. We have a family now, we have 2 children. So I think that the radio was one of the best things that happened for me in American University.
Right now, I work as an interpreter, which means a conference interpreter at events. And I work as a translator as well. I'm working on a book. And occasionally I write as a journalist, but not too much lately. But that's just this phase of my life. I like my work now because I like to change things, and the things that I do now, again, are new for me and interesting for me. So I don't miss that part. But back at the radio, you would have this freshness of things and this, you know, desire to do stuff at a point of your life where you're not burdened by prejudice or by other people's negativity or by the thoughts of, can you afford it? Don't you have to do something more profitable now? Is it going to be good enough? Are the people going to like it or pay for it and stuff like that? So that's really liberating in a way. And also just the fun that you have with your friends. I miss that right now because I'm working as a freelancer. So I don't have an office, I don't have colleagues that I go to every day. And but even if I do, even at other periods in my life when I've had colleagues, I don't think you can compare too much with the radio, just because when you're in university, it's the best years of your life, basically.
Не искам да завърша заради радиото. Не искам да стане много драматично. Съжалявам. Ми стана мъчно, сега ми стана мъчно.
Първо започвам от там, че аз съм от Благоевград. И съм слушала Аура през целия си съзнателен тинейджърски живот, защото Аура спък е едно от първите частни радиа. Даже все още съществува този спор дали е първото частно радио или не. За нас винаги ще си остане първото. Слушала съм Аура от самото и създаване, дето се вика. Но за да бъдеш част от екипа на радиото, трябваше да бъдеш студент в американския. Не мога да кажа, че това е била основната причина да кандидатствам в Американския университет, но много исках и тайничко се надявах, когато ме приемат в този университет, да бъда част и от радиото. Още на първата кампания за набиране на нови хора в Аура кандидатствах. Минах някакви интервюта, не си спомням нещо много драстично от тези интервюта, веднага ме взеха и още от първата година в университета, де факто аз бях част от екипа. Като през всичките години съм минала през почти всички постове, само не съм била в търговския отдел.
Всяко нещо е интересно. Стига да знаеш как да го кажеш. DJ-а, водещия, не трябва да има страхотен глас. Не трябва да има... Всичко това са процесори. Аз говоря така, но по радиото звуча ето така. В смисъл по много по-различен начин. Това е техника, която се учи. Важното е да имаш тук и тук. Радио се прави само с ентусиазъм и с любов.
Първият ми ефир беше с Симо Колев, който сега ми е колега в радиото. Той играеше Дядо Коледа, аз бях Снежанка. Правихме една баница с късмети, хората се обаждаха и ние трябваше да теглим късмети, които бяха награди от някакви малки бизнеси в Благоевград, да речем постригване еди къде си, маникюр еди къде си, пица от Наполи, билет за кино и така. На мен това ми беше обаче първи ефир и бях супер стресирана, защото той е старо куче, а пък аз сега заек, дори не съм била на симулация. Обаче вече сега веднъж като мина, претръпнах и повече дори не правих симулации, така че много бързо бях калена в истинския ефир. И честно казано, винаги си е тръпка. Това не минава. Тоест да застанеш пред микрофона, особено когато не си на запис, винаги се отразява и на гласа ти, и на поведението ти, според мен и на твоето си вътрешно притеснение. Когато готвихме 12-ти рожден ден на радиото, решихме, че освен парти, каквото разбира се традиционно правим и каквото разбира се едно от най-добрите партита в Благоевград, ще направим и ремонт на самото радио. Откакто сме се нанесли в тези две помещения, не е правен такъв ремонт. Така че за тогава това беше голяма работа. Намерихме си на бартер бояджийски материали и 2 дни преди, примерно, голямото парти, цялото радио се разбута и с мечета всички сами започнахме да боядисаме. Номера беше, че си го направихме отново съвсем сами. Това е най-сладкото. Не да дойдат сега едни майстори, да го измажат, да го направят лъскаво и красиво. Ами това, че сами си го правим, сами си го рисуваме. Поканихме Моис Мошев, който също е местен талантлив агент, да нарисува графита, който беше на едната стена, на човеченцето, което според всеки е различно. То е нещо като извънземно, нещо като гущер, нещо като аура. Не е ясно какво точно е, всеки си го разчита по негов собствен начин и той ни го нарисува за 12-тия рожден ден. Аура е страст. И тази страст става част от живота ти и остава част от живота ти завинаги. Ако я нямаш, не си за там. Насила няма да стане по никакъв друг начин. Така че това е една думичка, ама е страст.
Радио Аура, пулсът на Благоевград. Здравейте, часът е почти 5 или даже точно 5. В момента стрелката на секундарника разцепва 12-ката. Предаването е свръхдоза. Аз съм Васко, до мен е Филко.
Generally, there were a lot of people who wanted to come to the radio, and also because the university, like everybody was friends with each other, and it was really condensed, and it was really easy to find the cool people and tell them, okay, listen, you have a talent, or I can see you're good with mixing, or you have a nice voice, come and roll to the radio. I remember in terms of a specific recruiting campaign, I remember we did one poster. I remember the one that we did. We made this huge poster, which was like as big as a door. It might still be in the radio, which said sex with red letters, and then underneath, now that we have your attention, come and roll to Aura. We're really cool people. We usually think that the whole world listens to us when we're on air. I remember my first show, I exited and I entered the taxi driver and I look at him and will he recognize me? And then I realized, what do you mean? Well, like, first of all, he wasn't listening to Aura, second of all, it's just my voice, you know. I think my second or third year, we got sued by Music Author or something, like, and we were in big problem. And then Savata came, the director, and he was like, we have a big problem, but Ethel's mother, who is also an AUBGer, is one of the directors, so we'll fix things up, you know, we'll write the thing that we're a student radio and we don't have any money and they are letting us, like, play whatever we want, so we fixed that. I think people need the radio more than they realize. I think that even if there is no radio, like if it's an off-air thing, people would still gather in the office and spend time together. I think first of all they need each other. Second of all, yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's very pleasant work. I mean, producing jingles or hosting shows, especially in AUBG, which is a small environment and everybody's a popularity freak and everybody wants to be fucking famous, you know. So having the opportunity to do something on a microphone and the whole city would listen to it, or yeah, whatever target you have, it's still motivation enough. So I think it's the people and it's the specifications of the job that get the thing done. You don't need any money, and we're students. Students don't get paid. They shouldn't get paid. They should do things for practice and that's it. That's how the world works. I remember at one point, we recorded a song at one point when I think it was our graduate. No, the guys who were 1 year older were graduating, and we decided we should write some lyrics and do a song. And it's really funny because me and a friend of mine wrote the lyrics, and they were really funny how the printer isn't working, how we messed up the air again, and like the cleaning lady hadn't cleaned up the radio. It was like really mundane stuff. And then we decided like that all of us should sing it, but the problem was that none of us could sing. So we sang the song, and then Javor, who was the mastermind producer guy, and he was a really good guitar player back in the days, and he had to do the whole mixing and the music, and it was just voice and a guitar. And when he did the final mix, you could hear, like, you listen to the song and the lyrics and they're awful, and then there is this guitar solo who is trying to cover them, like, wow, wow, wow. And it's a beautiful guitar that is trying to compensate the bad voice, and yeah, we did that. It was barely audible, like, people like, okay, thank you, fine, it's fine.
Всички ли виждат текста?
И тук сме сега. Неделя в 8 часа. Кой пак закъсня? Кой пак е пил до сутринта? И няма чистачка. И факсът отново не бачка. Но има пиячка. Здраве! Никой не мисли за стачка. Работиме здраво, без никакви пари. Работим в радио, майна шега. В радио Аура животът кипи. С нашия глас пулсира града.
Who you are, not in terms of, I think that Aura, More Honors and theater in AUBG for me and a lot of people are the best courses you can ever take in your life, like not only in the university, wherever you study. I mean, these things teach you how to interact with people, how to actually do something with your hands, and it's a craft, it's not a course, it's a craft, so it's one of the most amazing things. I mean, when years pass by, you realize how much it has given you, really. And when you're there, you have fun, so it's a win-win-win-win thing.
Съвременната хит музика на 100,4 FM. Привет от мен, Дария. Часът е 3:31. Аз имах изключителното щастие да бъда върната няколко години назад. С машина на времето не, а с една бивша колежка от Радио Аура. Първото радио, в което съм работила. There are so many things in common with with Radio Aura and so many things that both radio stations do not have in common. But let's start with the common things. So I almost felt at home because, you know, everything is so sort of small. Like, it's not a huge radio station. It almost looks like the studio in Aura. Microphones, they're a little better. And we have all those different kind of machines who correct your voice. That's what we didn't have in Aura. I forgot the most important difference. I actually receive money for what I do. Back in Aura, I would do it. I would do all the same thing. I would do even more without being paid. But here I'm paid, so yeah, it's a good thing to be paid now that I think about it. Yeah.
Радио Аура, пулсът на Благоевград. Здравейте отново в сряда вечер. 8 часа е и както знаете, това е забавен кадър, филмовото предаване на Радио Аура. Аз съм Дария, до мен.
I think the university had been planning to sell not the radio, but the license of the frequency 98.8 because it was just too expensive to maintain. It is. According to the Bulgarian law, if you have this frequency, you have a lot of expenses. So I think they've been planning to sell this for a long time, and they just couldn't figure out what they owe and how to do it and who to convince to buy it. The information got out there in my last year, 2010, 2011, when I was a program director of the radio, my 4th year, senior, and that was a very, very harsh year for the radio. Because nobody knew what was going on. Are we going to continue to broadcast on this frequency 98.8? Are they going to shut us down? Nobody knew why they're working there. So a lot of people from my department, they just quit. Like, I lost half of my people. And everybody else lost their motivation to work and contribute. And that's thanks to the university, because they didn't know what they're going to do. And we didn't want to sell the radio because we were going to lose this legacy. Let's say legacy, because we've been having this regular frequency since 93. So it was 18 years back then. Yes, it was for 18 years, and we didn't want to give it up. Why would you? It's out of what, nostalgia, you wouldn't want to lose the frequency, but we had to give it up, unfortunately, because of economic reasons.
Well, my sophomore year was the most difficult year for the radio. We got bought by Communicorp at the end of my freshman year, and then I became a director, and all of us in the director's team were new members of the radio, except for our GM back then, which was, she was GM 2 years in a row, so she was experienced and she knew what she's doing. So when we started our sophomore year, we thought that, oh, now we're gonna work with Communicorp and they're gonna give us everything and we're gonna be just fine. So we started the year, we made a recruitment, we start every year with that. However, the communication with Communicorp was very difficult, and because they are very busy and they have other stuff to do than be concerned with us. And we kind of thought that we will be broadcasted on their frequencies easier. However, that's not how things worked. And for some reason, some miscommunication with them. We didn't have broadcasting for the entire year. The first day of broadcasting during my 2nd year in the radio was on our birthday, which was, actually, to tell you the truth, I have no idea how Aura managed to survive this year. And we recruited new people, but the new people had to be inspired, motivated to be Auras. And how can you motivate them when you don't have it? You don't have the radio. You don't have the actual thing to which they applied. So yeah, it was a pretty tough year, but hopefully, thankfully, we managed to pull it off. And the radio survived, which was, I don't know, it's a cliche to say a miracle, but if we didn't die back then, I have high hopes that we will maybe never die, because there is still something here in between those walls that even if there's no essence of the radio, there's still another essence that keeps everything together.
Никога не сте сами, където и да сте.
Защото Радио Аура винаги е с вас.
That's the big question. How can a radio station sustain time, like more than 20 years, with people who only volunteer their time and work in it without receiving any compensation? And I think the answer is this. There are two kinds of people. The first kind, they will just work for money and they will never find the right place in Aura. That's why those people we hired, they left early. They didn't stay with us till the very last day of graduation, for example. Those people, they left. Those people who stayed are the second type I'm talking about. They would devote themselves without any reward because they know the reward would not be monetary. The reward is experience. The reward is having good time with your colleagues that you make great friends with, that actually you do something cool and you can put that in your resume, in your CV. And the time you spend there, it's like the best time you spend in AUBG. I can guarantee you that. And that's the Aura spirit. That's what kept the radio go on for more than 20 years without anybody receiving any compensation for it.
The team is the soul of Aura. And our team is so various and so different. In every other AUBG club, you kind of have this group of people that you with similar interests, similar kind of, even they look similar. Here we have all kinds of people that have nothing to do with each other. That makes it very diverse and very interesting to be here. Our meetings and our team buildings are such a mess. The team buildings of Aura are notorious in the whole of AUBG.
Really funny when you know what I learned in the radio? With the camera, freshmen can be your legacy. See the stars.
You know what I learned in the radio? Seniors can be very hot.
I think at some point there were a lot of new faces in Aura, so that's why the older members decided to get to know us better, or maybe the male the male part of the radio liked some of the new girls, maybe, so that's why they created the team buildings. But in my sophomore year, that's fall 2008. That's when the first team building happened. We had it in Borovets. I think it was great to be outside in the nature, hiking, then coming back, drinking, sharing stories. We even had a bonfire. And that's when the real spirit was created, the real bond was created over there. So I think everybody liked it, and then it turned out to be a tradition overnight. So that's why every semester since 2008, Radio Aura has team building.
The team building was awesome. I loved it. It was the best team building so far. So, yeah, I really, really loved it.
Well, now that I think about it, if you ask me that question, how do you build a team? You do not build it on a team building. I don't think you build it over there. You just have good time, and you learn on a team building, you learn how to better deal with your colleagues. Like, you make friends. But the real team is built every Sunday. For me, it was the Sunday meetings that actually built the team, because it's the hard work that you do that builds the team, not the leisure time.
Aura is the pulse. Aura is the pulse of AUBG and of Blagoevgrad, and that's gonna be forever, because it is. It's been here for so long. It's gonna be the pulse of Blagoevgrad forever.
Radio Aura 20 Productions. Radio Aura на 20 години. Запомнени! Тук рапираме и не спираме! Не спираме!
Пием бири и оркестър свири, Рафи танцува до мене. Тя не губи време.
Ое, Теодора прави бита и не пита, не пита.
Себе наблюдава и се забавлява, а пък кралица е...
Нашата кралица!
Радио Аура, 21 години, любов.
И последния комплект, айде, пиано мен. Тех всички аранжимент няма.
И чух сме сега неделя в 8 часа, но някой го няма, потеглил да гони своята мечта, но пулсът остава.